Good afternoon, everyone. Nova Scotia, their planting season is behind 2 to 3 weeks, possibly 4 weeks. This is the condition in the fields. I've received word that they're using snow blowers right now to remove the snow to allow more sunlight to penetrate to try to thaw the soil. Apple orchards decimated. This is a look at the root structures. Niagara wine crop decimated. Only 1% survival rate on the buds and the Chardonnay vines. Insurers are reeling already from claims by maple syrup producers at $8.5 million loss on just their drip lines that they're claiming already. Last month, this is the buds coming through the snow. Right now, they're expecting 10 more centimeters or 2.5 inches of snow. Halifax today at just 2 degrees Celsius. And I want to take a look at the cause and effect. We're going back records 140 years. And this is what the homes were covered in throughout the entire winter. That is up to the roof. Let's take a look at how cold temperatures are going to affect agriculture going forward from this year. There's a definite feedback loop that starts by too much snow over the winter, not melting quickly enough, and the new snow is coming in the autumn, which do not allow a long enough growing season. Here we go. St. John, New Brunswick. Notice that the normal amount 11 centimeters, but this year they had 154. Halifax, usually 5 centimeters. This year 90 centimeters. Do the math. Monticon, New Brunswick, 21 centimeters normal snow, 136 this year. Charlottetown, 16 normal, 135 this year. Summerside, Prince Edward Island, Fredericton, 15 normal, 94 this year. Bathurst, New Brunswick. But when you get this type of abundant snows drifting, look at the home here. This is up to the roof. This is what they experience. This is how much snow is out there. There were blizzard after blizzard after blizzard as well. That behind the light post is a car buried in the snow. That's how deep the snow was this year. In this image, you'll see there's 2 cars buried in there somewhere. This is a nice view from the NASA MODIS satellite. Notice how much ice has accumulated through the area abnormally. Stuck on this ship, that is just horizon to horizon ice. When we go back on land here, the records were broken back to 1871, 1872, and in Nova Scotia, 1870. And something incredibly beautiful during this icy cold time was, in the lower 48 states, the only runway on ice. But even just last month, in March, windshield wipers sticking out. Look how deep the snow is there. This is a before and after photo of what it normally looks like in the summer compared to what they received this winter. That's not normal. And when we look at losses in the economy, do you think Halifax spent exponential amounts running the machines, paying overtime, additional fuel costs, as well as maintenance and repair on the vehicles? This is going to repeat itself city after city, continent after continent going forward. Agricultural insurance companies are reeling already. Last year in Canada was $3.2 billion to cover on losses. Already we have 62 farmers trying to claim $8.5 million. Maple syrup producers claiming that their drip lines have been damaged. That is a single so tiny little industry in the grand scheme of things. Look for a push on maple syrup prices this year. Maple syrup should have an exponential price increase. So when you're going to buy a bottle, it'll probably double price within the next 3 months. This comes off of Greenhouse Canada, specifically greenhouses damaged to 3 million US so far. What's happened is there's so much snow coming down, they're unable to clear off the buildings between snowstorms, and the excess weight just collapses everything. Now, this is a greenhouse, but they're 3 weeks behind on production because they can't even get to the greenhouses to put the seedlings in the trays in a greenhouse. Now, what effect is that in the natural environment? How much snow is still out there? This report, even from Metro, says that greenhouse growers can't even grow a crop this year. They're going to lose their crops in a greenhouse. Soak that in for just a second. And if you thought the winter was over, it's not. There's another 10 centimeters of snow on the way. That's 4 inches for those of you in the United States. The temperatures here, Halifax at 2 degrees Celsius. What's that, 36 Fahrenheit? And by no means is this just in Nova Scotia. And when we come back here and look at Saskatoon as well, warnings, watches, precipitation turning to snow, another 10 centimeters on the way. The spring weather outlook in the eastern United States as well as eastern Canada looking no better. Cold, cold, cold. Rain, and when snow melts, it turns to water, and the provincial government is asking people to be prepared for flooding as the snow melts. That is going to also have an effect in the fields. You can't plant in completely soggy, muddy fields. Even with the best machines, the earth dictates when we can plant. I started jumping around in different blogs and sites looking for delays in crop plantings. Low Bush Blueberry blog. Nice. You guys have a lot of information on this one. They're talking about minimum 2-week delay in planting. The potato crop is now 2 to 3 weeks behind. What's funny though, in 2013 they were 1 to 2 weeks behind. So taking this out on a linear fashion, if it was 1 to 2 weeks in 2013 and now it's 2 to 4 weeks in 2015, what's it going to be like in 2019? Will they even be able to put a crop in the ground? This was a snapshot taken out an office window on April 27th of what the fields still look like. There's no planting going on. Nothing's being planted up there. As well, New Brunswick farmers hoping for the best to get something out of this crop. Look at those fields. Nothing's being replanted right now. These are some snapshots across social media. April 26th, the heavy wet snow. A flip-flop 4 days apart. That's an interesting photo. And April 27th, this is still how much snow is laying around in people's decks and backyards. April 26th, Cape Breton. These agricultural losses keep adding up. And you know, it's smaller types of vineyards right now and apple orchards and maple syrup producers. You know, they do add to the economy and they have an amazing product. I really like all three of those actually. But when we come down into major grain crops like corn and sorghum and soya beans and wheat, if we start losing those crops at these levels, they're losing smaller segments of the agricultural economy right now. We need to think of a different system for producing food for the masses on this planet. Niagara wine crop, absolutely destroyed. I looked up all three different areas inside the vine alert. The survival rate in Beamsville Bench, 32% on their vines. Colchester, 9%. Hillier, 1%. 99% of those vine buds have died, which means there will be no grapes coming off of them except for 1% of the plants. Apple growers hit incredibly hard as well. This is a look at the root structures coming through after they've had a chance to clear some snow off. Lots of broken branches too with all the drifts going all over the place. They are going to experience 80% losses this year. And when you have buds coming out of snow this deep still, with the cycles repeating themselves, with this many things going on a cyclical pattern, it's happening in Nova Scotia now, the United States in the Northeast, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire. Cape Cod had icebergs this year. It's going to be exponentially worse next year. I'm just curious about what's happening in Russia with the planting season. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. If you like the information presented, subscribe to my channel, Adapt 2030.